All right, we are back. The Well Life Podcast.
Back.
We got another little walk and talk for you guys, bringing up our 8th point on how to live your life in a better, more health-focused way, right? Wellness-focused way.
Right.
Just some tips you can apply.
All stemmed off of our kind of 8 points to help you become a more optimally well person, right? How to optimize your well-being.
Mm-hmm.
And the last point really from there was kind of planning ahead and creating a plan for yourself that you can follow, that kind of keeps you on track.
Yep. So we have, right, planning ahead is going to be the focus today. Not only just planning ahead in life, but planning ahead for, right, things that you can actually do to set yourself up to maybe eat better or feel better on a consistent basis, right? So getting into our why, one of the first big points of why you should plan ahead is that overall it gives you a process to achieve your goals. Right? If you guys have goals that you want to hit, you're more likely to hit them with some type of process in place, some type of plan in place, right? There's this saying that you can't measure what you can't. What's the saying? I'm trying to think. I had this in my head right before this, and I just lost it.
Can't measure what you can't track.
Say that's what it is. It was a different word, but
yeah.
You basically, right, you can't measure what you don't track. You cannot do that, right? So there's no kind of real way around that, right? If something is able to be tracked and measured, or tracked, then it's able to be measured, and it's much easier for you to organize yourself on a daily basis, line yourself up, live with a little bit more intention in that regard, whether it's food, whether it's to-dos for the day, whether it's just prioritizing 45 minutes to get your workout in. Maybe if you didn't plan, you might not get that workout in because things will be kind of disheveled and you won't have a real focus on what you need to do every hour to include that workout, right?
Definitely.
And then it falls off and you end up going 5 days, 5 weeks, 5 months without a workout because you didn't plan, right? So creating a process is one of the, or giving a process, right, to your day is one of the biggest whys for why you should plan ahead.
Yeah, I think with that is just that you will always default to your processes that you have in place, right? So that's the same kind of going along with habits. So if I have this plan in place, it'll allow me to follow processes that'll keep me in line. If I want to be a person that works out, I have a process in place that give me times in my day, each day to work out, and I'll default to those processes. But if those processes aren't in place and that time is not created for me, then I may stray off and do anything, right?
Yep.
That those gaps in time will just get filled with other things that have to get done.
Yep.
So point 2 there from a why standpoint, and why it's important just to have a plan in place is just that it will help you to organize your day, organize your goals, and then also decrease stress. So if I know that I have a goal in mind, and that could be weight loss, that could be to become a better reader, just to be more active in general, if I put a process in place to either get to the gym with some regular occurrence, to read a book, I'm going to then have that, right, organized, and I'm not going to be stressed at the end of the week when I'm thinking about, oh, I didn't make it to the gym, or I wasn't able to get that reading in if I'm trying to be someone that's finishing a book kind of every month, right? That's so it's going to kind of decrease the stress that you're putting on yourself to achieve those goals.
Yep, 100%. And it came back to me that you can't measure or you can't manage what you don't measure. That's what I was going to say prior. So it's that's a good one. Write that down. So it's very hard to manage, right, what you have going on, what you have to get done if you don't put a plan in place, and that makes it even harder to measure where you're at, right, and measure what you're doing, how you're achieving progress. And this is going to lead me to my 3rd point, which, right, off of organization and stress management, being less frantic, being more kind of calm in your daily abilities to get things done. This is going to lead you to be more efficient if you have a plan in place, right? Just like I had said at the first point, if you don't line your day up, I know, for example, on Monday, if I have 2 classes in the morning, a session, a couple more classes to coach, and then I have a couple of sessions after that, and then a couple other things to get done, right? I might have 45 minutes to an hour to get my workout in, and then I have to find food, and then I have 3 more sessions, right? And then Tyler and I have a meeting, and then that's it.
Yeah.
You know, and
so
if I don't,
of the day, you got to know that the things you're looking to do,
yeah,
are
right?
built
So
into that schedule.
if you got kids, if you have classes that you're in school with, right? If you are anything, right? If you're managing anything, how can you better manage it by measuring these things and putting these processes in place to plan your day? Maybe it's cooking meals the night before so you know that lunch is easier, because 15 minutes running across the street or running down the block to get food and coming back wastes a half hour, right? And there's many more choices you can make that can cause you to fail in your diet. Maybe you go to the store, right? You pick a little cookie bite to have as a snack because you're so hungry. You end up eating worse for the day. You end up missing some of your workout time, and then you rush to get back and you try to finish whatever work you had to get done before the day gets away, right? So
Yeah, so it's like
efficiency.
I like to even just block things out in the calendar, right? So even think about something simple as a workout, just like put that hour in the calendar,
Yep.
so you know you see it, right? And it helps you kind of put that in line with the other things that are in your calendar already, because those things should be just as important.
Yep, 100%. I think one more thing I was going to say about myself, I think I struggle with this in that sometimes I'll write notes, right, in my reminders list for the week or for the next day, and I'll finish the things that need to get done. But almost my biggest problem is remembering to go back to the reminders list
And clear
to put more reminders in, right, and clear the old reminders. So I almost get caught up in doing things for 3 or 4 days, which I end up getting a decent amount of stuff done, right, in the right order. Probably could be more efficient, but it's just the whole
But that's also
thing that, right,
you getting
compiles.
better at like making a plan, checking in with yourself. So it's going back to your overall plan. So you're getting the things done, but are you getting them back in your list, right? Are you optimizing that list kind of at the end of the week?
Yep.
Last why we're going to have here is just accountability. So if I have a process, it's going to help keep me accountable to my goals. So I know that if I have these things on my calendar or I have them on my to-do list, and I look back on a Friday and I said I was supposed to get 3 workouts in, read 3 books, go on 2 walks, and I only did 50% of those things, I can actually see it because I have a plan. If I just say it out loud and I don't put it anywhere, I don't actually put it into my schedule, there's no accountability there. Right? So if I actually put it into my day, it'll help keep me accountable. And just like the process is there, once I create that habit of being at the gym 3 times a week or reading that book, that'll just become a process, that'll become a thing I do every day, and you'll start to default to that. And then your habits will hold you accountable, right? Because you'll essentially need to and want to do those things.
Yeah, I was just going to say just that, right? It's almost like someone that goes from a mess with their diet, and you say, well, track your macros, right? Put your food into a MyFitnessPal or something, whatever app you want to use, and that gives you the tracking you need. But people say, oh, I don't want to track my macros all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you don't. You track it for 1, 2, 3 weeks, you perspectivize it, you form these habits, and now you start to know intuitively what you need to eat, what's good, what's bad for you, what works for you, right, and the amounts. And if you feel like you're getting off track again, maybe go back to tracking for a couple of days to reset, right? It's not that crazy serious where you're committed, right? More so what you're committed to is the habit.
I think that's the biggest thing. One thing we tell people too is you don't have to track your macros forever, right?
I don't know why you chose this hill to walk up anyway.
You're just out of breath as this happens. But as you track, it's just going to help you get an understanding of what you need to do, right? And then you could always kind of default back to it. So as we come from our whys of why it's important to plan, why it's important to create a plan for yourself, we can talk about kind of how do we get there? How do we create a plan? So first, we want to think about just creating one, as we talk in our segment, just an overall wellness plan. So if I think about myself and my wellness fitness goals, right, I want to think about where do I want to be, what kind of person do I want to be, what things do I want to achieve. So if I just want to be healthier, if I want to lose some fat, if I want to get stronger, how do I get there? All right, maybe that's 3 days of strength training, 2 days of cardio, right, and then a leisure walk I get on Sunday morning. I put those right into a calendar, into a plan. and I ensure, right, I'm sticking to that, and I make time for those things.
Yep. Right. That's a huge part of the how is you take that plan, right, and it turns into your daily to-do, which is my, what's up? What?
Do you only have 5 minutes here?
I'm good. I texted him. Sorry, talking about some stuff we had to do. We might be running
Talk about planning. Right?
Yeah. The day gets away, and time is something we don't get back. Right? But creating that plan carries us directly into our next point of how is just, right, aside from a wellness plan targeted at wellness, right, just an overall daily to-do. Like I had just emphasized, motorcycle, like I had just emphasized in the previous couple of points, is that daily to-do can be an overarching thing that just makes your day, living your life as your person, right, much easier, much simple. And that can just be a part, right, of something that's outside your wellness plan so that your wellness plan is able to be carried out, right? You know, there's that sense when everything is clicking, you feel like you've gone 5, 6, 7 days in a row where your eating has been on point, you've had enough water, you don't feel low energy. Even if you sleep 5, 6 hours, they're great hours, and you still wake up pretty well and you get into the day, you almost get into that cycle of just like, right, look good, feel good, perform good, everything's clicking for you. But then you go out to dinner and you have a big dessert, right? Or something happens and you feel like you just lost it all. It's like, no, you have your daily to do. Maybe you have a consistent thing you put in place where every day, right, you know what you got to do. If you fall off a little bit, it's always there. It's always there to pick you up. It's always there to put in place. You kind of know where your baseline's at, and you know where your habits lie when you feel good, right? So it's easy to kind of get back to, and it makes not so much creating a plan the biggest thing, but having that plan consistently there for you, right, if that makes sense. So knowing where your baseline is, right? Oh, I felt great the past 4 weeks when I worked out 3 to 4 times a week. Yeah. I just fell off for 2 weeks, right? Not a big deal because you know where you feel best.
Yeah, it's almost using that plan, right, as a crutch, even just for yourself. Mm-hmm. So I can consistently fall back on these things that made me feel good, those things that I'm now prioritizing.
100%, right? And we even talk about some people that almost haven't lined that up for themselves. They almost don't even know what it feels like to feel 100%.
Yeah.
So it's like, how can they even get motivated to get back to where they want it to be, or get healthier, or work out more, or something, right?
Yeah, I think
when
that
they've
goes
never
into
been there.
The third point.
Yep.
Here, you should just jump into it.
Yeah, you're right. So this actually goes right into the third point. As Tyler said, it's the mentality towards what you need to do, right? So we're talking about you as the individual. Right? Everyone's different. Everyone has their own goals. Everyone has their own things that they like to do, their own places they like to go, workouts they like to do, right? But what's important is that how are you reaching at every single goal every single day in your to-do list and in your wellness plan to achieve these things, and take that action little by little so that you, right, know where you're going and you take the right mentality to approach everything, right, in the correct way for yourself.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes for me, I know that I feel the best sometimes when I'm a little bit harder on myself. I know that I'm going to kick myself at 5 a.m. if I didn't go to bed at 9:30 p.m. and I just stayed there on my phone for an extra half hour, or I did something stupid, right? Like that doesn't need to be there. I know I'm going to kick myself and I'm going to wake up feeling worse.
Yeah.
So why do that, right?
That's right in line with just kind of what you were saying about people not even understanding what the best version of them, or at least a better version of them, even feels like. If you're someone that, right, you're eating some sweets, you're eating some things that your body may not even just agree with, and you're constantly either bloated, you're constantly have some stomach pains, and this is just who I am, right? I have back pain, I have shoulder pain, this is just how I live. When, in fact, if you change a couple things, you may feel yourself in such a better place. Yeah. And like you're saying, once you know you've reached a place where you felt really good, you're in probably one of the best versions of yourself you can be in, right? So it's like, all right, when I do things that hurt that, right, I feel nowhere near what the optimal version of me is. Yeah. So it's just kind of, once you start to feel those things, just really using that momentum to keep pushing and keep you at what that optimal state is, right? So if I know it's hey, this doesn't agree with my body. Hey, I know I need 8 hours of sleep to feel great, right? Always defaulting back to that thing that's going to be better for you, that's going to make you feel better.
Totally. I think an important point to bring up here in the how to do it is what works for you at the end of the day, right? We like to talk about balance. The world likes to talk about balance. Sometimes I think it's great, but sometimes I think it's a scapegoat for people to not hold themselves fully accountable.
To allow themselves to do things in the name of
So balance, but you go out and you get trashed. Instead of knowing that you shouldn't have done that, or knowing you're going to feel like crap. So it's right if you have had a drinking problem or something, right? Sometimes you're at a point where you feel like you just need to cut it cold turkey and get that away from you, right? Yeah, maybe that works for you. Maybe that's what you need to do. Obviously, if you can go and you can have one drink, that's great, right? But if you're a person that needs to run every single day, that might be extreme, right? If your knee pain starts to get up on you, you start to break down your body, but you feel like for your mind you need to run, maybe you need to go talk to somebody, right? But right,
but
there's
just like
always
listening
balance
to what you need.
But if you feel, right, that you're taking care of your kids, you're running a business, you're doing this, and you're running every single day, working out a little bit every single day, eating or fasting a little bit or doing, right, and those little things just make you feel incredible every single day, then why would you stop doing them, right? So balance goes just as, or not just as far, but only as far as, right, being good for you and not detrimental to you if you feel like you don't necessarily need certain things in your life to feel your best.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly, again, right, lines us right up into our fourth point here. I think what is a good roundup for this point, and one, you need to check in with yourself, right? Because your goals, your processes, your entire plan are only going to be as good as the check-ins that you have with yourself. Because I have to know, did my plans or my goals change? Right? Do I have less time than maybe I did before? Is my body telling me that, hey, the things that I did before don't make me feel as good as I do now? So down at the end of the week, maybe at the end of the day, whenever works for you, kind of sit down, think about your goals, think about, am I giving myself realistic and attainable goals, or am I telling myself, hey, I want to drop 50 pounds in 2 months, right? No, it's not going to be realistic for you. It's not going to be attainable. Give yourself something that's realistic and attainable, and then check in with that. So how can I get in at the end of the week, get in at the end of the day, whenever I have that time, to consistently look back at what my goals are and make sure the processes that I have in place, so the things I'm doing every day are going to be the things that I can do, and they're going to help me meet my goals, right? And those are things I actually have the ability to do, right? So it's not, I need to be in the gym I need to be in the gym 7 days a week for 2 hours so I can lose 50 pounds, right? Just not going to happen. So at the end of that week, I can say, all right, I actually can only get to the gym 3 days, and I can only get out for a run twice. So now I can change those processes that I have in place, and adjust my goals to be something that's more realistic for my process.
100%. And I love that whole explanation. I think it brings us back to the first point of you can't necessarily manage what you don't measure, which is what I was going to say. I stuck with it, and I'm sticking with it.
Bring it back.
Right, but that is so true, because if you don't check in with yourself and your progress, right? I've had people ask me, or telling people yesterday, an example of, hey, I'm a 150-pound kid, high school kid. I want to be 175 pounds and put some size on myself in 6 months. I said, well, what's the math on that, right? It's 3,500 calories a pound. Multiply that by 20 or 25 pounds, right? And now divide that by the amount of days in 6 months. That's your amount of calories. You got to be in a surplus per day, right? Simple math. But if you just go on a tangent and eat whatever it is every day, and then have some days with no food, how are you going to incrementally achieve that and stick with it consistently and know what that looks like and feels like to get there in one of the best ways possible, right? And do it again if you want to gain more weight or drop more, right?
And that's a good example for for this entire point. Is, all right, I'm looking to put on actually muscle in 6 months. Okay, what are my numbers? Where do I need to be? So now I know what I need to hit every day.
Yep.
And then, hey, at the end of 2 months, because it's a 6-month goal, maybe I'll check in. Am my meals big enough?
Yeah.
Right? Am I working out enough to turn the calories that I'm taking into muscle that
Yep.
I'm looking to do? Right? And then, okay, maybe I can change it. So maybe it's not going to be 20 pounds or whatever I'm looking to add because I just can't eat that much food. So
Yeah.
right now it's going to be 10, and then I'll try for another 10 next year. Right?
Yeah.
So just checking in and always adjusting those goals and adjusting the process.
Totally right. 100%. All right. So that's what we got on planning ahead. It is very difficult, right, to live a very sound, right, non-stressed, well-managed life if you're not planning ahead in some sort of way for yourself, for your business, right, for your wellness journey.
Yeah, think about if you're not planning, life is then just happening to you, right? If you can plan, then you could actually take advantage of the time.
Take control, yeah.
And take control of your time, right?
Yeah. All right.
So, appreciate you guys for checking in with us for another kind of on the move, actionable podcast. We'll be bringing more of these to you.
Yep. Stay tuned. All right. Please follow wherever you guys listen. And
let us know if you've got a plan in place and how you're checking in with it.
Yeah, and if there's anything specific, let us know what you'd like to hear next. If there's any points you've pulled from any of our podcasts and you want us to elaborate on stuff, So appreciate you guys.
Appreciate it.